All right, so Fresh and Fit just continue to embarrass themselves, which is always hilarious. I mean, these two, ironically, are probably some of the funniest people on the internet. Like, if you remember last time I talked about them, Walter had knocked up this girl who originally people were warning him about and said that she was into him for his money and was trying to use him. But he would defend her. You know, he's acting like she was down to earth and just a normal person that was into him for him and didn't care about his money. But then when she got pregnant, him and Myron claimed she was actually an escort that, of course, was just using him for his money, which is embarrassing considering Walter said he was in love with her. He introduced her to his mom. He bought her expensive jewelry. And I think he said he was going to get her an apartment in Miami at one point, too. But still, Walter is in complete denial about it and doesn't understand why people say he pays for girls.
We pay hoes. Show me one time where we pay hoes to smash.
For what?
Like to smash. I'm like, bro, yo, so I made the vlog, right? In
We would have been
Barbados.
exposed by now if that's the case.
100%. I made a vlog in Barbados, right? Oh, they're going to say, oh, they're bad, but Fresh paid them. Nigga, where did they pay them? They booked their own flights. Nigga, what the fuck is wrong with y'all niggas, man? But
And of course, Walter is going to be all defensive about it, but it's crazy Myron still has the audacity to act like Walter's never been exposed for this. Because the last time it happened, you know, it's happened multiple times, but the last time Myron was the one that exposed him. I mean, he was on his podcast trying to convince people that Walter had been dating an escort.
Sex workers, not escort. Okay. What's this? In this photo that you guys can see here, we can see Jin Chen meeting up with a potential client. We would have been exposed by now if that's the case.
100%.
Yeah, so Walter's last serious relationship was with a girl they claim is an escort. So by their own definition, Walter's a simp. I mean, there's really no denying it. But of course, whenever people call him that, he'll just say that they're haters that are projecting because, you know, the people around him are never honest with him, as we see with Myron here. So I don't know if Walter will ever have any self-awareness unless they have on more guests like Tommy Sotomayor, who they had on recently, and he actually kept referring to Walter as a simp, which was hilarious, and Walter kept getting really offended by it. It started because they're talking about that situation with the female police officer who got attacked recently, and Walter was talking about how he felt bad for her, but of course Tommy and Myron, their take on it was, well, women shouldn't be police officers, and she should have known what she was getting herself into, and like if this were a man getting attacked, people wouldn't have cared as much. So because Walter just felt bad for her and because of all the other stuff, you know, I'm sure Tommy's aware of the escort and Walter paying for girls and everything. Because of all that, then Tommy started referring to Walter as the simp du jour, which he said means the simp of the day. And Walter started to get offended by it. So Tommy tried to make it seem like as a compliment. He's like, oh, don't take it as a diss. I mean, I have daughters. We need more guys like you out there. We can't have all alpha males like myself.
This. Not a knock on you. But it's three men at this table, and you did what's actually more normal than what Myron and I did, which was we viewed it from she shouldn't be there. But you know what the first thing you did as the simp du jour? What you did was you said, that's wrong, he hit that woman, which is what most men would do. It is very difficult to say, well, this woman chose that field, she shouldn't be in that field.
You can vote, but you got to vote alongside a male. I think that's the way it's got to go.
How do you feel about that simp du jour? It just means the simp of the day.
The point I was trying to make was that, like, in that scenario of her just being in that position, like, she did choose it, but let's be real here. She's naive. She didn't know what was happening. She was just there for a movie role. Right?
How dare you?
Yes, simp du jour. Now listen, let me tell you something.
This nigga, bro. This nigga, man. Yo, this nigga, bro.
No, he's a simp du jour, but I appreciate him for being it. Let me tell you why. That's why I don't want him to think that it's a diss. I have daughters. If we don't have men that think like you, where the f would we be with a bunch of men that think like me? We don't have to. So they will say this, but we will have a man like you or me sometimes or you sometimes.
Why you keep saying me?
No, listen to what I'm saying. That's why I'm bringing things. I'm really good at conversation.
I'm understanding. I just have to be.
No, what I'm saying, I bring
For the
it
camera.
It's all of us. It's all of us.
That's what I said. I said it's us at each time. Here's the
nigga,
point. What
So he was starting to get defensive because, I mean, obviously calling somebody a simp on a Red Pill podcast, that's like the ultimate insult. But he's not wrong, you know, and I'm sure Myron probably knows that too. Because if anybody else dates an escort, Myron would be the first person to call him a simp. And I'm sure Walter would too, because he just has no self-awareness. And sadly, he probably actually believed that the escort was in love with him. which is crazy considering his podcast is Red Pill Podcast. I mean, it's like this guy throughout the years of doing his podcast has learned absolutely nothing. And he's pretty lucky that Myron stuck with him through all that, because Myron doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would have the kind of patience for somebody like Walter. You know, because Myron will talk about how important it is for guys to have discipline and work on themselves and go to the gym and stay away from partying and drugs and alcohol and 304s. But Walter seems to struggle with pretty much all that stuff, and he's more interested in just partying and throwing money at girls and trying to get laid. Like, also, him and Myron started throwing these yacht parties, which I'd imagine is mostly Walter's idea, and I wouldn't be surprised if Myron wants to stop doing it after this most recent one, because this was just embarrassing. And he also got a lot of shit for promoting this on Twitter, because first of all, the tickets were $1,000, and he said only $1,000 because the last one was $3,500, which is insane. I don't know who the hell is paying for that. And they're also pretty much paying for the girls to be there, because obviously they get in for free and they get free drinks and free food and everything. So the guys are paying $1,000 each to pretty much hang out with a bunch of 304s, as Myron would call them, you know, because these girls were the kind of girls you'd see on the Fresh and Fit podcast that Myron is usually making fun of and bashing and talking about how bad they are for men. So pretty much all the comments on the post where he was promoting this party were calling him out for being a hypocrite. And he was responding to a lot of comments, but he didn't really have anything to say. He's basically just like, I've been talking about this party for months, so you're an idiot. But he's also trying to act like this is something different than just going to the club, because it was also a networking event. But people are like, who are you networking with? A bunch of girls that you're usually telling men to stay away from. And like this comment says, Myron's the one that's always talking about how these girls are opportunists and they're just trying to use you. So why is he setting these people up to be finessed? And Myron's response was, there's going to be normal girls on the yacht, dude. Is every girl in Miami an OF chick? Go outside. Which is just hilarious, because first of all, he acts like every girl in Miami is a 304. I mean, one time he literally said, if a girl posts a picture of herself on a yacht, that means she's a 304. So of course people would get this idea from him. And then also, I think it's safe to assume that a Fresh and Fit yacht party isn't going to have the classiest group of girls attending it. You know, I think anybody could have told you that, but Myron and Walter were trying to reassure people that's not the case.
Fresh and Myron, you only have hoes on the boat, ratchet hoes. No, there's not, bro. There's all kinds. Whatever your flavor is, bro, you like the brown, you like the vanilla, you like the friggin'
a bunch of white girls. What are they talking
butter
about?
pecan, whatever.
What are you talking about?
I was supposed to, bro, they only see clips or something and say, oh, it's only ratchets. No, there's way more than that, bro. Either way, there's variety on the boat.
Bro, people be hating, man.
I know. See, once you've been to one of our yachts, you don't say that shit. So many people that
Anyone that's been on the yacht, you guys already
they know what's up.
It's always the fucking weirdos. Well, I see. Yeah, I saw. Is that the workout? It's like, bro, what the man?
Listen, go to my Twitter. I posted a yacht that we did recently. It was a friggin' movie. And it's just like that, man. It's the same thing. Baddies on baddies, liquor, food, good time.
So I think.
And it's so funny that they're all surprised that fans of theirs would think the girls at their party wouldn't be the highest quality, because, again, they're the same kind of girls you'd see on their podcast who they're usually trashing and making fun of. So obviously their fans would get this idea from them. And I skimmed through some of the live stream of their party, and for Myron to try to act like the girls there were just normal girls that have normal jobs that he would find respectable is completely ridiculous. You know, half the girls there look like they're strippers being paid to be there.
We would have been exposed by now if that's the case.
100%.
But either way, this was not the classiest group of girls, to put it politely, even by Fresh and Fit standards. You know, these girls, there's a lot of twerking and a lot of really bad tattoos and plastic surgery. So people are roasting him in the comments. Like somebody said, you want me to pay you to hang out with strippers and OF girls? And also, so you want me to drop a stack to hang out with girls you complain about and warn men to stay away from? This makes sense. And what makes this even funnier is the day after Myron threw the yacht party, you know, where he charged guys $1,000 so strippers and OF girls could show up and drink and eat for free. He then went on Twitter and had the audacity to complain about a nightclub. He said, the first time I've been to a nightclub in almost a year. It's incredible to watch the talentless women cut the line while men wait and pay thousands of dollars for a section. Then said useless woman comes in the section and drinks the liquor that men paid so much for. It's truly a sight to see. So, of course, people in the comments were just roasting him, which how could he not expect? I mean, he posted this right after his yacht party. So somebody said, dude, you just threw a yacht party where only men had to pay to enter. You're part of the problem. And of course, Myron's like, you're an idiot. Men from all over the world with high net worth were able to meet and network. The women are a bonus. Yeah, so it's hilarious that he's trying to say that this is a high net worth networking event. I mean, this was like a networking event at a trashy strip club, pretty much. But Myron also talked about how the difference is his event brought together like-minded men that are red pill aware, but clubs just bring in people that want to simp. Even though, again, these red pill aware men are paying for a bunch of OF models and strippers to hang out with them. So I don't know how you could say it's any different from going to a club other than it also being a networking event, I guess. But after all the backlash Myron got from this, I'd imagine they're probably done with it. I mean, also, he says he never goes to clubs. It sounds like he hates it. He also says he never drinks at all. Like on the yacht party, he's just pounding Red Bull the whole time, and he looked like he was wired. So I can't imagine he's really dying to do this again, but Walter, I'm sure, is. Let me know what you guys think, though, and then make sure you go check out my Patreon account. I have a ton of extra content on there, over 90 videos at this point, I'd say. And I talk a lot about Kill Tony. There's a lot of drama going on with that show that's really interesting and entertaining to keep up with. And also I talked about Bill Maher, who had the Hawk Tuah girl on a couple weeks ago, and it was the cringiest, most awkward podcast ever. Like, he was just being really creepy, and it was really hard to watch. So if you're interested in hearing about that or just a ton of other stuff, there's a lot to go through. Make sure you check it out. I'll put a link in the description.